Hello and welcome to The Appointment. I am Pranjal Sharma. Joining me for a conversation today is Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. She is the Chairman and Managing Director of Biocon. Kiran, thank you so much for being with us on the show today. Kiran, we are talking at a time when you have made a remarkable success by entering the Japanese market. So why I want to talk about more of what Biocon has done. Let's understand a little bit about the impact and importance of what you have achieved in Japan.
So I think this is a landmark approval for us because, you know, it basically heralds our entry into a very, very tough and regulated market like Japan. And what this means is that this Japanese approval will open many, many global doors for us. For example, we are due to be filing in the US and European markets for regulatory approval of the same product, insulin glargine, in the coming few months. And you know, the Japanese approval basically not only lends credibility to these dossiers, but I think the approvals will now no longer be a question mark because it will happen sooner than later. So that gives you the kind of credibility that you need as a company operating in the biosimilar space, that your dossiers are of high quality and that your product also is of high quality. So I think not only is it about US and European approvals that will now become a reality in the near future, but it's also about opening many, many more markets which were not accessible to us until we got a regulatory approval in a developed economy like Japan.
How difficult was it for you, for your team to work towards getting the regulatory approval for entering Japan?
So first and foremost, we had a very good Japanese partner, Fujifilm Pharma. And mind you, this development is not a short-term development. This development has happened over the last 5 years. So I think Fujifilm Pharma really took on all the work that we had done in India, and then with the product and with some of the development, and then conducted phase 3 trials in Japan in type 1 diabetics, and that's what led to the approval. So of course there was a very, very thorough review process of the dossier itself, the product itself. We've had many, many audits by the Japanese regulatory authorities in India, and I think we came through with flying colors. And this is really the culmination of a very, very strong joint effort between Biocon and Fujifilm Pharma. And I think that's what is very, very important to recognize. And that's what makes us very confident that we will be very big players in the insulin space as such. Because as you know, Biocon's first thrust into biopharmaceuticals was in the area of insulin and insulin analogs. And this is a testimony to the fact that we have the required skills and the scale to be big, significant players going forward.
What is the largest strategy that this is a part of? Where do you want to take Biocon from here? Developed markets, you have played a pioneering role in reducing the cost of oncology and diabetic medicines. Now that these new markets are opening up thanks to your relentless efforts, what does it mean for Biocon in the future?
So, you know, when we made that shift from our historic business, which was enzymes, to biopharmaceuticals, we had to have a strategy which really would get us focused on developing skills and expertise and scale in some of the chosen areas. We chose two very, very important areas. One was diabetes through insulins, because I do believe that diabetes is a global pandemic that's only becoming a huge challenge. And I think insulin therapy is a very key part of this particular diabetes management paradigm. And therefore we believe that as a company where India was at the epicenter of diabetes, we felt that it was our responsibility to ensure that we develop affordable insulin and insulin analogs so that Indian patients could have access to these important, almost life-saving drugs. And then we could take it to global markets. And the second area that we wanted to focus on in the same way with the same rationale was cancer. because we clearly believe that cancer is a huge global challenge when it comes to access and affordability, because it is very well accepted and understood that immuno-oncology, where monoclonal antibodies play a very, very important role in cancer therapy, are almost unaffordable to most patients in the developing worlds. And therefore we believe that as a company, we had it in us to develop affordable products for this kind of immuno-oncology applications, starting with biosimilar antibodies, but actually we as a company started with a novel molecule, Biomab EGFR, for head and neck cancers, which was the biggest cancer in India.
Kiran, at one level your focus on affordability is very laudable. At the same time, your focus on entering developed markets, what combines the two? Because you would not put affordability and developed markets together always.
You know, it's a very interesting question you're asking, because a lot of people confuse affordability with low profitability. And to me, it is absolutely not the case. I think when you develop affordable drugs, I think no market is isolated from the need for affordable drugs. If you look at the US today, there's a huge debate about the runaway pricing that has happened in the US with many, many drugs. And I think clearly they are of the opinion that biologics have had a field day to command unrealistic pricing, and the governments have paid for it. No longer is that going to be the case. They also realize that if they have to bring down healthcare costs, if they have to make co-pays more affordable, then it is about embracing biosimilars. It is about embracing drugs that are more affordable, and it is about embracing drugs that actually have a value proposition that makes it a rational decision for them to support such drugs. So I think this is a recognition and realization the world over. I think as a company, we are leveraging the cost base and, more importantly, the talent base that we have in India to deliver affordable drugs, which to us as an Indian company is still a very profitable proposition.
True.